At Vanguard, we know that this is more than just a retirement plan. This is your cappuccino date in Italy, the beach house with the matching bicycles. It's your rental car down memory lane, and weekends reuniting with friends from over the years. This is the future you imagined, and we're here to help you build it. Because at Vanguard, you're more than just an investor, you're an owner. Discover the value of ownership at Vanguard.com. Fund shareholders own the funds that own Vanguard. Vanguard Marketing Corporation Distributor.
Empire.
Welcome to the latest edition of All's Caps, a Victory Game 1 edition with former Capitals defenseman Carl Alzer. I'm AP hockey writer Steve Wino. Carl, a comeback victory by the Washington Capitals at the President's Trophy, winning Florida Panthers. How did they do this?
Yeah, I think a lot of people would call it a surprise win, but I think just watching the way that the game went and the game flow and the style of game that the Caps played versus the Panthers, I don't think it's all that surprising. I mean, it wasn't right. You know, like the Caps did exactly what they needed to do. I'd say maybe what was interesting, I'd say the first period, it looked like it was kind of either way. Obviously, that penalty, the penalties at the beginning for Florida, hurt a little bit of momentum and all that. But it looked like they were just trying to feel each other out a little bit, some nerves. Everyone trying to get their legs a little, and then in the beginning of the second, it started to turn into a little bit of a track meet. And then I think you started to see the Caps really focus on like a good neutral zone, having guys back in the picture, making sure that there was always guys tracking. Because if you look at that Bennett goal, I think it was Giroux maybe that pushed the pace, so yep. he pushed the defenseman back, and then Bennett was able to skate all the way down and back the D-man up to the top of the circles. And, that's a dangerous shot with the way guys shoot now. If you can get into that position, then, you can score goals just like he did. And then it seemed like as the second period went on and they settled in, they had five guys in the picture a lot more. And Florida just wasn't able to create a whole lot. And so that's playoff hockey. That's how you are successful in the playoffs, is by having everybody on the same page and making sure that they're all helping out and frustrate the other team. Like, Florida's a team that wants offense. They want to run and gun. They want to score goals. And when you have someone there checking you at all times and you can't have those odd man rushes, then that's kind of the way the game goes. So watching the game play out, I wasn't all that surprised by the way the result was. But I'd say it was surprising according to a lot of the experts.
Yeah, and I was worried that the Vanacek gives up the rebound goal, and you're thinking, oh well, that's a bad mistake. You can't give that up. And then the Capitals come back. The Panthers this season in the regular season were 39-0-1 when leading after two periods, and now they're 0-1 in the playoffs.
Yeah, playoffs are different, man. It doesn't matter. Those stats are no more. Teams play different, and that rebound goal, it was a bit of blown coverage off the faceoff. You should have a guy with Giroux there, and that never happened. So. You can't control every single rebound, so it's you rely on your teammates. But it's a veteran playoff team in the Caps versus a relatively inexperienced team in the Panthers, and you could really see that play out. It went, especially the last 3 or even last 5 minutes. Like, that was pretty clinical by the Caps. They did what they needed to do with the puck. They got it out when they had to. They were smart. Like I said, everybody was in the picture. It was, you just see like a different playoff team came to play tonight.
Yeah, and Alex Ovechkin forcing the turnover on Mackenzie Weegar, leading the Kuznetsov goal. That's just a hustle play, and it looked like one of those moments where Mackenzie Weegar's not used to being in this spot, and Alex Ovechkin and Evgeny Kuznetsov are.
Oh my gosh, it was just gave me chills watching a defenseman, last guy back, trying to beat the forechecker. Like, I know the ice is bad and all that, but like, come on, that's as the defensive defenseman, that's just nothing you should ever do, especially in the playoffs. So as soon as that was happening, I was ready to throw up in my mouth. Like, it was just tough to see, and then they capitalized just like that. It was, I mean, that was exactly what the Caps needed. You wait for your opportunities like that, you pounce on them, and Kuzi's not going to miss too many chances like that in the big moment. Yeah, I think that both of those guys were definitely, very noticeable. Backstrom, like, come on, you kidding me? He just goes about his business, making the perfect plays, being in the right spot, slowing the game down to the speed he wants it to be. And I think I texted you too. Even JoJo, like
Yeah,
I even
Sherry and
like
JoJo. Yeah, that's
yeah,
what she.
Sherry,
Yeah,
yeah. JoJo was solid, making great plays. He took a couple of hits, but he kept going and was making solid passes, putting them in the right position. It was just nice to see. And then Sherry, I mean that. I I really like his game. All season long, I think it's been solid. He brings the speed. We know he can play in the playoffs. He's just a great compliment on that top line. It was just nice to see. I think he really opened up the ice for the Caps because he's really one of their only, one of the engine guys, the go guys out there for the Caps. So I guess he's just really noticeable, especially when he's moving like that.
absolutely. When we come back on All's Caps, Carl and I are going to continue to review Game 1, look ahead to what this means for the rest of the series between the Capitals, now up 1-0 on the President's Trophy winning Florida Panthers.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. There are some monthly expenses you just can't get away from, like insurance. You might be looking at your expenses thinking you're going to have to pause on your DIY project, stop collecting vinyl, or even give up your daily coffee fix to have great insurance. Talk about a nightmare. It's a good thing State Farm knows everyone has a budget, and they have a range of options, like insuring your ride and your home with surprisingly great rates on both. With State Farm, you can also personalize your policy, so you get the coverage you need at a price that lets you keep up with your projects, add to your vinyl collection, and continue to enjoy your coffee habits. So forget about giving up what you love to have great insurance. For surprisingly great rates, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or go to statefarm.com for a quote today.
It's so nice out there in the Mexican markets where chilies stretch in the sun, high in the mountain air between backcountry skis and kids doing the first snowplow, or next to the pool after a long day of forgetting what day it is. We're all here to get out there and come home more us than us that went away. And when you save on travel as an Expedia member, you can travel even more. It's so nice out there. So let's go. Expedia. Made to travel. Terms apply. See site for details.
Welcome back to All's Caps. Capitals 4, Panthers 2, with former Capitals defenseman Carl Osner, who is a big fan of Florida Live Arena down there. I'm AP hockey writer Steve Wino. Carl, we were just talking a minute ago. This showed to me that the Capitals are not as big underdogs in this series as everybody thought.
No, I mean it's you do every series prediction typically just off of a projection from the regular season, right? And the Panthers were dominant, and the Caps were last in the conference, maybe a little bit. Floundering isn't really the right word.
They just limped in a little bit after Alex.
Yeah, limped in's a good way to put it. They kind of just were coasting in because there was less on the line. And so, yeah, just based off of that, of course, everyone's going to pick the Panthers. You expect them to continue some of that dominance that they had. But then watching them play tonight, I mean, I said I have a couple buddies I was talking with, and we were talking about it. And I said, I told them, I mean, obviously I'm a Caps fan. I root for the Caps, but, for the most part, everyone's been talking Florida. I said the Caps are going to win this in 6. And I just think that watching the way that the series went, or the game went tonight, I mean, they're without a doubt they're in this. They have a chance to win. Guys play the way that they do, and Florida has the pressure, and they feel a little bit panicky at some moment. They're going to take advantage of it. It was just, I mean, the game could have even been 5-6-2 Caps. Like in the second, I think it was the second period, they missed a bunch of open nets, bunch of chances. Like
that Orlov shot. Like everybody's giving Bobrovsky a lot of credit for that toe save, but Orlov missed half of an open net.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, and he fluffed the shot a little bit. That's not where he's going with it. There was, I feel like they had more chances than that to score, and I'm sure Florida had some at times as well. I think there's a couple pucks that went off of the knobs of the goalie's sticks and stuff, but still, I definitely think the Caps are going to be in this series for the long haul. Unless something happens where Florida, just absolutely catches fire. Yeah, I think that the Caps have a really good chance.
Yeah, and what everyone thought, okay, the Capitals have to go into this by out-hitting Florida. After the first few minutes in, it was like Caps had all the shots, Panthers are trying to throw all the hits. It's almost like the Capitals, with trying to kind of put the puck on net as much as possible, took Florida completely out of its game.
So that's part of the problem with the playoffs, right? Is everybody wants to go out there and crush you. Like, you just waste so much energy making hits, and it's important, and you wanna make that investment with the physicality, but you definitely don't need to go out of your way. You take the hits when they're there. I thought Mantha was super physical tonight. I thought he did a really good job of finishing every opportunity that he had without really going out of the way to do it. And that's, yeah, it's the way it is. That some teams want to go out there and just try and punish you all game, and they forget that there's a puck out there and a game to be played, and it's knowing how to balance that. You could see Hornquist up to his old tricks and trying to get guys riled up to take penalties and stuff, and I don't think the Caps really played into it a whole lot. Same thing with Marchment; he was also trying to do that, and you you take it for what it is, right? You give him a little shot when you can, and you remember that there's a game to be played, and don't worry about the rough stuff and the stuff after the whistle, because it's just whatever at this point.
Yeah, let's give Peter Laviolette credit for, I think his strategy going into this was smart, and we don't know how good a coach Andrew Brunette is, so I think advantage Peter Laviolette and the Capitals there. But let's give Peter Laviolette and Scott Murray credit for Vitek Vanacek in this game. Maybe that one or two bad rebounds, but he was solid. He gave the Capitals exactly what they needed to start the series.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that they went with him. I think he's a little bit more of the calming force back there. He didn't have a ton of action at the beginning of the game, so sometimes that can be tough when you're the shots are a little bit more sporadic, and you don't have, I think Bobrovsky had to well, obviously with the power play right off the beginning of the game there, he was forced to get into the game right away, and I think Vitek had to it was a bit more of a slow grind for him to get in there, but I think he did a really good job. He was in all the positions, making sure that pucks hit him. But didn't necessarily have to go out there and reach for pucks. He was just in good spots, and yeah, it was nice to see. And that's the way the series is gonna have to go, right? As the game was happening, I was thinking, just don't let a squeaker in, don't let anything in like that, because when that doesn't happen, then he's solid, then the team is solid.
Sure. Yeah. So we did see a couple injuries early in this game. Tom Wilson left, trying to deliver a hit. Late in the game, John Carlson got hit, went to the bench slowly. When we come back on All Caps, we'll talk about what those injuries mean for the rest of the series and kind of what we should expect in Game 2 in Sunrise on Thursday night.
This episode is brought to you by Clutter. Face it, your friends don't want to help you move. That's why you need Clutter. Clutter is a one-stop shop for moving, storage, and packing. Their licensed movers will pack your items with care, transport them safely, and move them into your new home. All you have to do is book online and relax. Simple, right? Visit clutter.com/Spotify moving and get $50 off with the promo code Spotify.
This episode is brought to you by Cheetos Deja Tu Huella. Deja Tu Huella means leave your mark, and that's exactly what Latinos are doing all across the country. They're rewriting the rules and pushing the boundaries in their communities to leave their own unique mark. They use their gift, their superpoder, to make an impact, whether it's through art, music, fashion, food, or something else. And Cheetos will celebrate what they're doing by shining a light on their transformative power. The Deja Tu Huella program celebrates those leaving their mark in Latino communities. You can also celebrate by checking out the new podcast, Batman Unburied, on Spotify. Batman Unburied is presented by Cheetos Deja Tu Huella. Visit Batman Unburied on Spotify to learn more.
Welcome back to All Caps with former Capitals defenseman Carl Alzer. I'm AP hockey writer Steve Wino. In the aftermath of the Capitals' 4-2 win at Florida in Game 1, as we discussed, Carl, injuries to Tom Wilson. Tried to look like he was trying to deliver a hit in the first period and got the worst of it. And then John Carlson got hit up high in the final seconds of that game. How just right now, how concerned are you if either one or both of these guys misses some time in this series?
Oh, definitely concerned. I mean, they had to play, I guess, pretty much the entire game without Tom tonight,
after he scored that goal, of course. Right.
Although he did score, yeah, exactly, and being in the right spot in front of the net. But definitely concerned. He's a guy that brings a ton of energy, and yeah, a minute and 31 seconds I think they had him down for. So we'll have to go back and look and see when it was that he got hurt. I think the one time I saw him absolutely flying to deliver the hit in the corner there. You said you thought maybe it was on Uyghur. So yeah, I'll go back and see what it was, but I'm curious what the injury was, because he came back and skated around for a second then left. So that's not a good sign. And the fact that he didn't come back at all to play, a guy who's tough like Tom, It's upsetting. First game of the playoffs for something like that to happen. I mean, I've gone through that exact same thing, and it's one of the more frustrating feelings. So hoping that he's going to be able to somehow shake it off and find a way to play through. But that's not a good one. And then Carlson, I mean, that's just an unknown, right? How he's supposed to know exactly what's going to happen there, but definitely looked like he got his bell rung at the end of the game, and that's I mean, it's one of those things that it may sound I don't know, like you don't really care about concussions, but because obviously we do care about concussions, but it's the playoffs, and if you can still skate around out there without being in a vulnerable position or putting yourself, I guess, turning yourself into a liability, you find a way to play through it. So I'm curious to see how that kind of shakes out, but it's you don't want to have your top three best player be hurt like that, especially a D-man.
Yeah, and the Wilson injury, nobody does what Tom does on this team, that's for sure. But for the Capitals' key to me in this playoffs in general is you can't have anyone in that top six get hurt, because you don't want to have to turn to the Michael Kempney and the Matt Irwin sort of situation here. That top six as constructed, these guys have been playing together in pairs for the last 2 months, basically.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You do that, and then all of a sudden you got guys that are going to be playing 25, 26 minutes a night, and that just wears on you so fast. And there are guys that can do that in the league, but it's just so hard in the playoffs. You don't want to have to start using up your depth this early into it. It just becomes too taxing on the players. So ideally, yeah, he's going to find a way to continue to play, and hopefully it was just one of those stingers, and he heads down the tunnel because he knows there's only 15 seconds left or whatever it was in the game, and it doesn't really matter so much. But we won't really know until the next couple of days, I guess.
Yeah, and look, the pressure was already on the Panthers going into the series. President's Trophy winners, all these expectations. Now the Capitals take game one. Go into that locker room for like, if you're on the Cap side, if you're on the Panthers side, what are you thinking after a game like this? Because obviously you're Washington here. You just want to steal a game on the road.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you're the Caps, you're happy. You did exactly what you were hoping to do. You played your game. There's nothing really to be upset about. So I think that's good. And you're going to go into the next game thinking, why not do another one? We've already stolen one game. Let's steal one more. Let's keep building off that. And we have the recipe. We've seen it work. So continue on with that plan. And in the other room, it's a little bit different. It's you don't, with a lot of guys that don't have a ton of playoff experience, it's hard for them to not have a little bit of panic.
Sure.
They're like, no, we're supposed to sweep these guys, we're still winning 5, whatever it is. And it's the constant battle with in the playoffs. You win the first game, you think you're going to sweep. You lose the first game, you think you're getting swept. It's just like it's a weird mental battle, and you have to be able to get over that and let yourself know that you should expect every series to go 7 games. It doesn't matter if you're the favorite. It's just the way that it is. The teams are too even. So in Florida's case, they without a doubt have to come out extremely hard. You cannot go down 5-on-3 in the first 5 minutes of the game and expect to continue that momentum. You need to beat down on the team as the offensive juggernaut that they are. Otherwise, you just give teams more and more life. And a team like the Caps that are savvy and led by a lot of veterans, they will continue to stick with it until the very end of the game, and they make you pay just like they did tonight.
Speaking of the end of the game, Lars Eller, how about that shot from 160 feet away on an empty netter?
I know, it was so funny. As soon as he turned around and shot it, I stood up, said it's in, and it was one of those things where it was you just seeing eye shot. You're just a little bit sharper in the playoffs. It's just weird how it is, but that was nice, kind of a no panic win there, and it's nice to get an empty netter right away. So yeah, good for Lars, good for the team. It was very, very solid, and they did the job. That's exactly what we were hoping for.
Fun for Caps fans to enjoy this win and watch the Penguins and Rangers play multiple overtimes tonight in Game 1 of their series. Thanks everybody for listening to All's Caps, and we'll talk to you after Game 2 of the Capitals' first round series against the Panthers.